Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I am a Filipino. As a Filipino, it's my job to explain to you for this video about the transportation systems we use in the Philippines. While taxis and buses are a thing, I should explain to you like all the type of other stuff that we have. Starting off with a tricycle. So, a history of the tricycle is that in 1944, when Imperial Japan invaded the Philippines and turned it into a colony, we uh, we ended up getting introduced to the military tricycle. This was used by the Japanese for transportation for combat purposes. However, Filipinos liked its design so much, even long after the destruction of the Japanese forces in the Philippines, they ended up taking some machine parts and some vehicle parts and turned it into a makeshift tricycle. To this day, we have tons of tricycles, like tons of them. And it's fairly cheap, especially if you're like an American or a British person, given like current stock exchange bull crap. Yeah. Oh, and also, that's basically it for the tricycle. Oh, and by the way, it's natural for tricycle drivers to look like armed terrorists. I know this sounds insulting, but yeah. Another, next we have the Jeep. Now the Jeep is, how do I say this? The Jeep basically is the equivalent of a bus. However, we actually can choose our stop rather than like having to depend on like a stop. We could just ask the driver to stop. Instead of yelling "that's my stop" or "please stop," we just yell para. Or recently we could like tap coins onto handles to make a clinking sound which the driver will respond to. Once again, the relatively as cheap as a tricycle, and their price pretty much depends on like where you're going, where's your destination. And there are progressively many types of jeeps that with different destinations, and their prices vary. However, they were introduced by Americans in the 1940s when they fought off the Japanese forces in the Philippines. They introduced the military jeep. And I'm starting to notice that Filipinos really enjoy turning military equipment in public transportation devices for some reason. But yeah, the military jeep was liked by Filipinos a lot, so they just made it a public transportation item. However, recently, because of like the under the command of like President Bongbong Marcos, the new the new president of the Philippines, there's been a modernization project to advance technology, and by advanced technology I mean a lot, because Jeep utilized often primitive systems and primitive technology. Like I'm not saying like caveman level primitive, but just like not so advanced, not the most advanced. If you were to see it, you'd see that there's very clearly like wire systems barely patched up by tape and stuff. And as a result of these modern jeeps, or a more fitting name, buses, were around. They have like different. They're now under the rule of a new organization. These buses or modern jeeps are equipped with air conditioners, automatic doors, GPSs, sometimes even Wi-Fi, and they also have a way more complex route system and stop system, and they can be paid for specific services. That's basically it for the Philippine public transportation system. Also, by the way, a quick trivia that while I refer to the new buses as modern jeeps, there are indeed buses in the Philippines that predated the modern jeep or the public bus, because those were actually used to travel to other cities, while modern jeeps were used for much much more conventional methods, or much more conventional uses. Once again, if you have a few pesos, you're cheap as heck. Unless you're planning to go to another city or go somewhere very far, expect a hefty price. But if you're American or like from another country, you could just have that turned into like converted to peso, a lot of pesos. Yes. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, that's a guide for Philippine public transportation system.